Computer is back. Alrighty. Good morning, my peoples. I'm glad that some people still stick around after my computer issues. So we are live here back on YouTube and Tradecaster.com. Let me know if you can see me, hear me. Kind of want to just make sure everything is kind of clear, good to go. Because last time my computer started to have these issues, the mic had some problems. Let's see what else. The video's was screwy. I had to adjust the screens here a bit. So we were kind of just hanging out. I did take a trade last night after I built my computer back from the dead. I took this short right here. You could see it on the trade of 8. Still trying to work with the copier on trade of 8 because of the two accounts. I'm not really sure why. I set a sell order for 4 and it split it into 2 and 2, so it was kind of interesting. Alrighty. If anybody is here, if you can tell me if you can hear me, let me know. I'm going to kind of just go through my screens. We got NVIDIA here. NVIDIA popping up, pre-market gapped up on the open here, up into that 1100.06. I remember seeing Microsoft. Is that working? Volume wise, it seems like everything's working. Let me just make sure I'll check up on this screen here. Looks good. Looks good. Okay. So we have Microsoft also kind of like lingering around here in Fridays Friday's highs. So it could be a little hold this 428.80 and push up into the highs. We got Apple. Apple looking to flush through 192 already, kind of giving it up, popped up into 194. Never quite made it up into that 197, 198 range. So Apple, going to watch to see what happens if it comes back down to 189, if it's going to act as support or not. If it flushes and then bounces, I have a feeling that we are going to, based on this chart here, hold support for the time being. I'm going to go over to my Top Step X account because I do have my levels drawn out. We are right on VWAP, but see this blue trend line that I've had drawn up for some time? It's kind of still acting as a good support here. So I drew up here, bounce play, flushed it, bounce play. And then you played that flush on Thursday into Friday. That's a really good short position there. Then on Friday is here, came back up above it, and then we've used it as support again since. So it's a longer term, sort of like median area, median price point. So it is pretty much acting as its own little VWAP in its own right. We are these are the all-time highs right here, that 19,023. That blue line I drew up way back when, I kind of as a target idea for the high side, just based on the round number. And then above that, that's the 6.18 retracement extension is right there. So that's what that last line is. So just be mindful of that one if we do get up into those ranges. I'm wearing headphones today. I kind of want to be able to hear things, listen to things. Things are a little choppy. I'm hoping that let's see. I want to see what this news is. Starting tomorrow, it'll take 1 day to settle U.S. stock trades because the T+2 has now become T+1, so for settlement. So that's interesting. See if that increases volatility or liquidity or what it's going to do. All right, right, so we're going to go back to our screen for the open. We are kind of away from our levels, right in the middle of VWAP. I have overnight low down here. I don't know what this line is, to be honest with you. What is this? I don't know what this line is. Very interesting. Maybe they changed their VWAP. The VWAP is volume VWAP. It's adding a 90 SMA. I don't know. Just some random stuff that's just appear on my charts. That's something about Top Step X that I'm not a huge fan of, but we're going to just allow it to exist for now. Things just populate onto the chart. I'm going to pop open my Quant Tower. Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, sir. Good morning, everybody. We are about to open here in under a minute. So let's see if we can get some sort of price action. Like I said, I think there is a number come, let's see, come 9 o'clock. The consumer sentiment, I believe it is, that comes out at 9. So just be mindful of that. That might be something that we keep an eye on here. Consumer confidence and Dallas Fed manufacturing. Kashkari speaks. All these talking Fed heads are here talking always. It's flat for me. This is just chilling, so I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for my levels to come into play. Maybe the overnight high comes in. We are now open. Let's see what happens. Good luck, everybody. Have a great trading session, and let's make some money today. Really don't have any setups yet, right? So don't force anything right now, right away. We are sitting up $650 on two separate 250 accounts because I did build this computer back up at 9 a.m. I got home from work last night at around 10:30-ish, 10:45-ish. And for this to be open and not dancing around at all, that's kind of interesting to me. We're just lingering right on this VWAP. I'm gonna guess that we're gonna kind of just be patient and wait around these areas. Properties. I am running my laptop on the side with NinjaTrader with another 250K combine for Apex. So we're just going to kind of let things, if you do see me looking over here, I'm trying to figure out my settings on this because I hate the way it doesn't show the whole price action. Bothers me because of drawings, I guess. All right, we are back and connected on our Quant Tower. So we do have a really strong delta push to the high side. You can see that broke above this level here. This is the value area from pretty much the entire night, right? This tight range between 908 and 940, pretty much that zone. Upper band VWAP is around 965. Overnight highs is right around there at 980. So I'm going to be waiting for something in that range to be looking to short or fade back to VWAP. If we don't get any sort of failure of this level up in that range, then potentially we're going to be looking to see if a continuation kind of comes into play because 19,023 is all-time highs. 24 is all-time highs. I hate to short off this VWAP. I don't really trust it, but it looks heavy, right? It's not moving high side. S&P's is moving down. Russell's kind of creeping down as well. Russell's trying to feel heavy. Opening range here is super tight. So maybe play the opening range short because it's only 220 per contract that you can risk, right? So that would have been short through the opening range. If you are taking that opening range breakdown, I don't trust it quite yet. I don't think it's ready. This is a patience game. I'm not trying to force in stuff, but if you were to take that opening range short, you would have been in there risking to about 930. So that's about 200-300 a contract. You're already up, just about 10 points there on the breakdown. So you could have been mitigating your risk or adding to your contracts as you go and dip below this consolidation, right? There you go. So there's heavy. So you would have been up 1-1 on that, right? Russell's breaking down, so that's leading us downside a bit. We do have the support right here. We tipped right onto that trend line support. If we do crack that trend line, I think down to 891 isn't unreasonable, which is not very far away. It's right here. That's my next lower level of support. But if that 890 level goes, I want to see price to push down to 70 and then down to 25. And then hopefully you can get that overnight low. That could be a good bounce play there. Apple is catching a little bit of bounce at 192. Microsoft flushed the 428 level, 428.80. But it is finding support at 427.15, which could be a good dip buy area. Nvidia just continuing its run to the high side. Nothing holding it back really. It's at $1,114 there. I don't know how to do this. Let's see if this helps my... If we can crack through 94, 93, 92 and change here. There's a key level there. It is a heavier price action. Now you can see that starting to roll. So that opening range breakdown did provide you a good opportunity if you're willing to take it. Personally, wasn't ready to go and short that right there. And then I'm away from my levels. I'm going to do a better job moving forward of sticking to the levels. We did just crack that trend line. We are going to look to break through this 91 quarters. If 91 quarters goes, I mentioned, I think we get down into 68, then into 35, and hopefully we get into that overnight low. So that's a good short into that overnight low, breaking through that support level. Lots of eyes on that. What would I say? So that short never really took any real trouble, right? Because you risked 200, you came back into that, and then you broke it again. The secondary break of it, you're sitting up 400 and change per contract, down to 33. You would be sitting up pretty good. But see if it holds. See if it rotates down. 91 is a pretty important level. So you can see right here, support, support, support. So is it going to act as support again? And if not, how far down do we go? Do we end up down in that range around that 31? But if we break the high of this opening range above VWAP, then that possibly rotates all the way back to the highs. Russell catching a bounce from its low at 2,081, which is a bounce point for it. It's a key level as well, support-wise. Hoping everybody's had a good weekend. I spent the whole time stressing about it. This computer was going to start working again or not. Basically, just had to replace every single part in it, and finally it came to life in a new, in a different case, in an old case that I had, on a new motherboard, on a new processor, on a new power supply. And the only thing the same pretty much is the RAM and the hard drives and the graphics card. So at least we have that. NVIDIA is just smoking to the high side. It went gap, go, and go, right? I mean, it closed Friday at 1,067. It's already up $100, like not quite $100. That's 1,118. Tilt went heavy short when it got below 900. 900 is holding strong right now. I think a break of a 930. A break over 930 rotates us probably to all-time highs. The only reason I think all-time highs is because the overnight high is here, and then the all-time high is not that far off. So I feel like if we're going to get up and close to those overnight highs, and come near those all-time highs, then they probably get tagged at some point. At least 19,000. I'm fairly certain we made these all-time highs pre-market. We did 7:30 a.m. on Thursday last week. So market doesn't like to leave that for too long, and if it does, then we may be in for some sell side. So we're kind of just reacting. The price hasn't gone anywhere yet. So I mean, there was an opportunity there to take like a scalpy short on that opening range breakdown, but realistically, NVIDIA is super strong. Microsoft caught a bounce and is rotating higher. Apple even is rejecting 192, but it did bounce off of 190, 195. Amazon, Tesla, Google. Tesla melt off. Tesla has been selling since the open, but is running into support from Thursday. It's a pretty supportive level. If I was a Tesla buyer, I'd probably be buying from here down to 170. Microsoft back there. Wicked off the high of that opening range, and now it's coming back down. We're really kind of disconnected from NVIDIA at the moment. So if NVIDIA does start to sell off, then you might get some accelerated selling in the NASDAQ. It's just kind of a wait and see type thing. I don't know why that's the center of price action. It doesn't make any sense. I haven't been on NinjaTrader in a hot minute. I know there's a way to disconnect. I want to be able to see this, like be able to move the chart around. It just continues to sit here. Let me see. It gets like stuck. If anybody knows how to mess with NinjaTrader and unlock the way that the chart scales, is it under data series, price, value, time frame, chart style, auto scale, center on price on scale. See if that'll do it. There we go. Center on price. That'll do. That'll do for now. Cool. Yeah, 18,890 is a key level. There's a breakdown. Really wants to break 92, 91, I should say, 91 quarters. I'm too close to VWAP, too far away from my overnight levels. This is a key level for me, 91. Like I said, a breakdown of that short from this, wedging type pattern. that support level. It could give it up and then just kind of rotate down all the way down, pretty easily down into this area. However, I'm not looking to do that, even though it's probably going to be a good short for whoever does take it. Like I said, that opening range trade is still good, still valid. That's why I'm on the wrong time frame. There we go. So that opening range is right here, still great. If you're here, 9 o'clock, we do get a number, so be mindful of that. It could be a good opportunity if we get down into that overnight low, wick that low, come back up, and we could catch a bounce play down in that range. Just because we also do have that previous day low all the way down here. I'm gonna call that previous day low Friday's low, because yesterday was almost like an overnight session, even though it had a full session. I do have this purple zone here. It's kind of a key level, key bounce point. I will use it, but this is that ultimate bounce point low from the previous day. So we did break that 91, and now it's flushing down through that area, right? So once that came through, right? If you can see what I'm looking at here, opening range is that purple box right there on top, so I don't have to switch back and forth. Came back, retested that opening range, and now we're rotating right down to the bottom end of it and rotating all the way down. So bottom end was 91, was that support. As I talked about over here, that support level, pretty just simple, straightforward. 18,891 quarters was a support level. It was support. It was resistance, support, support, support. We had this longer term, not super long, but intermediate term trend line that ended up cracking again. And then once that level cracked, realistically, that 910 went. 910 went right on the our chart, which is the bottom end of that opening range. 910 went. We cracked the trend line. We cracked 91. Anticipate that price gets at least down to 33, 35, and probably down into 24s before you catch any sort of bounce. If it's going to stay heavy and you're going to just kind of follow that trend, then just be mindful of that. But we're going to be watching the overnight levels right here. See if we can get something happening around that area. I did mention, like I said, the 910, if you can see it on this chart now, 910 acted as a flush point, a bounce, retracement. You could have took the short off the retracement of the opening range and then come back and take that short. Everything is kind of getting heavy. I did sort of anticipate this if we did hold below those levels, but right now I'm not trying to catch a falling knife, right? I'm not trying to catch any sort of bounce. I'm not trying to even short it yet. I would have liked to have taken that opening range short, right? That was a really nice move. Down to 33 would have been $1,500 per contract with a maximum real risk of, if you really wanted to risk $300 per contract, you could have been easily safe and never had taken very much heat. If you took that, even if you just took the first break of it and left the stop above that area, you could see that's kind of manipulative. You did have this price action here. Delta tried to make a new high. Price did not quite. Came right back into that opening range. You could have took the retest as well as a safety play. So for me, I'm sitting up 650 on 2 of the 3 250 counts that I have, and then on Top Step X, I have nothing entered. So I'm really kind of just waiting for my levels to come into play here. 33s. I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what this is. I really have no idea. NVIDIA pulling back now to pre-market highs. Like I said, the next downside real support level is this 33 to 36 level. So I want to see a flush of this. I want to see a delta divergence down here. I want to see a bounce. I would really like it even down into 24. So, if this can flush down right into the 20, 24, even 20s is fine for me. If we can get down into that area, right? Wick down into this same support that we have right here. This 13 level. I like that spot better, that 2075. If we can come down into that, I would expect a bounce from there. I would like it to kind of give me a manipulative action, though. That's really what I try to do with my trading. I try to get manipulation. I try to see these overnight levels fail, give up, and then pop the other direction. So NVIDIA, I just need this to get down deeper. This has to get deeper into that 2024. Would be really nice then to rotate it back up through our overnight low. Could rotate us back up and then maybe even to all-time highs, but who knows? I'm going to have a... This is a combine. I'm copy trading on 4. I'm trying to just maximize. The goal for me for the next, few weeks, month, so is to maximize funding. I really want to have over $1 million by the end of the month, next month. If I can pass all these 250s by the end of June, then that'll put me at 750 plus these 4 or 50K top steps, puts me right up in that $1 million range. So that's the goal. Try to have as much in the funding as possible and then go from there. I want this to get heavier. I need this to get heavier. Come on, get down into that low. I mean, we are at the bottom end of that VWAP. That's one thing that I'm interested in. I'm going to watch this chart for now just so you can see the delta, see what kind of divergence we get. This kind of price action is nice for me to see if the bulls are going to step in. I do want to see it give up here around that 60 mark. Give us a heavy push down, kind of trap some shorts, and then go for the long side. I'm kind of perpetually a bear. But you can see some of this price action here. If this price can get up into this, it's already up into here. It's got to reject this zone, anywhere from here to here to 62 before I want it to kind of manipulate some. There's a push up. Get some longs involved. Stop them out down into that 24, into this yellow box. And then not get follow through on the delta. And then try and kind of rip it up. But we have bigger size here sitting out there at 63. He flashed bigger size, 100 lot at 63. Oh, Maximus, you coming in here? What? You going to bring me some espresso? Carry it slow. Maximus is the caffeination monster. Coming in with the curly locks, bringing me a cup of espresso. Thank you, big guy. I appreciate it. Bye-bye. So there's 8 minutes left in the hour. Hey, thank you, bud.
You're welcome.
Oh, wait.
What did Mommy get?
That's what it's all about there, folks. That's what it's all about. So I like this. The only problem is if it comes into the level at 8:55, then I won't be able to take the trade till after 9, after that number comes out. So I'm going to be watching it. I think this type of manipulation was going to happen, right? You were going to creep up a bit. You were going to push down into this 24 level, and then I would like to see a pop from there on a delta divergence or something of that nature, right? Where we can get a bit lower. Delta's trying to creep. It's pretty much acting the same as price. I want this down into that white line through this yellow line. Anywhere between this yellow line and this white line here would be ideal as far as getting price down into there, either holding or giving you a hard wick. And I would like the hard wick to even come into that white line so I could enter safely over the overnight low. But we might be just getting the price action coming in right now with a higher low. I'm just going to be mindful of this. It didn't come deep enough for me, but 44 is also another level that's kind of could be a support level. So 44. Kashkari is talking, so Kashkari always has something to say that likes to move markets a little bit. We don't have the opportunity to take this trade now. I know it's only 54 on my clock, but I do not want to execute until after this number comes out. The thing is, if this does give up this low at 30, 33, 37, 37, 37 would be it. I'd say if 33 gives up on a 30-minute basis, 759 down into here. That's a breakout point from... Doesn't say what day it is. May 24th. I'm still flat. I have not executed any trades. I'm waiting for this number to come out here at 9 o'clock. I do want this manipulation below these levels here before I look to try and catch a cheap long back to VWAP and back to the other side. So that's really what I'm looking at there. Looking at this 15-minute opening range. So this number comes out in 3 minutes. Anticipated number here on consumer confidence is 94. Previous it was 97. Consensus is 95 and almost 96. So if it comes out anywhere in that high 90s, probably is just going to kind of be a muted reaction. Anything that's a little bit different should give you a little bit more movement. We don't have a chart on this, actually. We don't have anything to click. There we go. No, I can't even click consumer confidence. Oh, man, I love espressos, man. It's great. This is my Trader8, my 250K account. You can't see it because it's blocked up here somehow because it's set up for my Top Step X stream. But I'm up 9958 on that account. So you can possibly see on your screen here, a little dot populates. Green on the bottom, red on top. I'm going to start using those in conjunction with my levels. This is indicating that a new low was created on higher delta, right? So if price is making a new low and delta does not make a new low and starts to push back up, you're going to get a dot population, which is kind of an indicator for our divergence, right? So I don't have to, if I'm on this chart, I don't necessarily miss out on what I'm seeing over here at this point, right? You got a higher low in delta, higher low in delta. Price tried to make a new low, didn't quite have a good delta on it, right? And that's what it's telling me, just in the form of a dot. And you can see it up here. Price tried to make a new high on a lower delta. So it's coming in a little bit later because it's going to wait to see where price is at in the candle as well as delta. So it's per candle basis. So it's maybe it's slightly delayed, but at least you're getting an indication of if there's going to be lack of follow through on this, if it's breaking this way, right? and delta's not following through. So you're probably looking to see what's happening here at that candle. So we're gonna wait and see. If we do enter in on top step X, we're gonna look to go hop over to trade of 8 and do the same deal. I'm gonna do it in it's weird how to do this. It's got to be in twos. So if it wants to be a 5 lot, it has to be a 10 lot. This number doesn't really matter. It's just going to show us an algorithmic whip, and then we're going to be able to possibly react. If it just pops off that number, nothing we can do about it. We're not at our level. We're not getting our divergence. We're not getting our setup. But realistically, you are getting a little bit of a rising wedge here, bear flag type action. So potentially could rotate right down through that on the number, and then either be a manipulation rip or what. I don't know. But didn't get a number yet. 9 o'clock is here. I don't have a release on it. 102 is consumer confidence, so it's up. $102. I don't know how it's higher than 100. I don't know what that means. So did not get any movement on that number. I think we do get a manipulation between this, but under this, based on that number. So if we can manipulate and get long through the overnight low, we could potentially get that. I need to change something on here. I need this to be 2000. Okay. All right. So we are going to try and set up here, it looks like. Higher delta. You see that higher delta. Price wants to push down. If delta could stay up here while price tries to push through those lows, then we should be okay to enter this long after we rotate through it. If we don't get to it, then it is what it is, right? I'm going to not force these trades in. I'm going to look to see my levels come in. And, you know, my success really depends on being patient to these levels. Obviously, I got myself into trouble forcing things in over the last, beginning of May. And now we're back into a more comfortable area where we believe in our levels. We believe in our strategy. And there's no reason to enter into things early, right? So let's see if we can get this down below the overnight low, below that 20 level, or into that 20 level. Delta's still doing its thing, holding up. Russell's selling off. With this consumer confidence, it's just kind of telling that there's not going to be a Fed cut again. Come on, get deeper. It's got to get through that overnight low. 47. It's just right up into there. Breakdown, retest. And there's the pop. So you got a higher low in delta relative to price trying to make an equal low. Didn't. So you're maybe getting the pop first early, right? So we are not FOMOing in. We're going to let this thing dance around, do it what it wants to do. And unfortunately, since we did not get through the overnight low, the strategy calls for this pretty much exact setup, but, down below this yellow line. Oh no, my level is a little off. Well, that's a nice long. Talking about the long, talking about how it's probably going to come into play here. Just couldn't get involved because we weren't deep enough into our level. But that was a nice little bounce play. Easy to kind of see it coming. Bottom end of this VWAP kind of helping out, but so the two moves we talked about so far, hopefully you were able to capitalize on something. I have to wait. This is just my thing. I have to wait for my levels to come into play. If I don't get to them, I can't limit my risk and I can't enter the trade, right? So you had this opening range breakdown that you could have capitalized on. If you just took the first short of it, you took $400 off the table per contract. If you took the break retest short, that one, without much help from a trail. I mean, you don't have a lot of heat on any of these candles. You probably were able to hold it through 9 and then rotate down into this level here, 91. If you get to 91, so that's this area here where we're right now, could be a short opportunity for that. This is where I want this to come even down again. If it does come down and break through that overnight low, though, that could be a heavy 91s. That was a beautiful move there. You see this pop in this right here, this green candle there. You started to see that come in, right? With the delta pushing. Price was trying to push down, trying to make new lows. Price never made new lows. It basically made an equal low and a higher low in delta here. And the dot popped. And once you kind of crack back above that trend line, then that's really it. But now you're getting into an area where it's confused, right? 91 is an area of resistance, breakdown point, resistance point. So potentially looking for a failed breakout, rotate back down. Could just continue to rotate all the way back to VWAP like we normally like on our strategy from the lows back up to VWAP. So the low end of that range there, the opening range, 15-minute range is 900. So I got a beautiful setup here. Just could not come into my level. Just going to kind of look in to see and adjust my level here. The only thing I see, if we look at my other chart here, this is the chart that I look at for major key levels. What I was watching for was that overnight low. Overnight low was this bottom here, right? That's what I'm considering the overnight low. But if you look to the left a little further, we do have this level right here, which was that gap kind of open, right? We gapped open here on Wednesday on, after NVIDIA news, right? So that NVIDIA gap low. You also have this doji, and then you have this flush candle, right? This ignition candle to the downside that broke down through that trend line, right? So that level just got tagged right here, which is 18,844.50. So if I just throw in a horizontal line there, just so you can visualize it, you could see break, support, indecision, flush point. And then we came here, we bounced off of it, came right into it. That was the level right there, 18,844.50. With such short history at these levels, it's very difficult to decide on an exact bounce point, an exact area where things are going to kind of become liquid. Because, right, like we see how much further we had down to go for that overnight low at 34, or the low of that candle is 33.50, right? That's my level, the 33.50 level, which I have drawn up on the chart. I even creeped it up a little because I had it a little bit deeper than I wanted to. But you can see right on this chart, that low still had an ability to come and get flushed to pop. I just drew this level up now, 18,844.50. 844.50, and obviously it's clear that it seems like it wants to be an important level. So I'm going to keep that level on my chart. And that's kind of how I just go about adding these key zones, because why would that react the way it did at that area if it wasn't, somewhat important, somewhat a noted area for the buyers to step in? So that's what I'm going to be looking for moving forward with this. I'm not going to force anything in, just because we have to be here. I'm not going to just hammer in. That's just not how that's not how I'm going to be profitable. If I can limit my entries, I will be a much happier camper. If we come back on the breakdown retest of this to short, up into 910, watch the 910 level, or even, like I said, the bottom end of the opening range, that purple zone. So if we fail to break out of that opening range, then you could possibly look for that short once again. But you are now getting that rising wedge pattern that I like to see, right? If that rises all the way up into that VWAP, then fails that, then rotates back down. That's something I like to see as well, based on heavy tilt to the long side. That'll give an indication, maybe a delta divergence there, right? If you get a big whippy top and you get a flat delta or even a diverging delta, then this makes a lot of sense for a short. But now you see delta pushing up, price pushing up, everything acting the same. So the rotation from low to pretty much VWAP, you'd be pretty happy with what you've just executed, right? If you have your stops below 91, 90, even if your stops below this candle here, you could even probably trail up now at this is the breakout point, and then just kind of continue to trail up into VWAP, and then wait for VWAP to either break or hold, and then use that as your stop for the trail. But per contract basis, you're sitting up $1,000 per contract. If you run it right to VWAP and tag bottom to top, it's $1,100 per contract, right? So that's the power of just like a mean reversion trade, and that's our go-to money A+ strategy. The only thing that made this not tradable for me is that it just wasn't far enough down into my key zone, right? If this happens and runs and stops, you can't just execute just to execute, right? That's how I got myself into trouble on the other end, right? In the beginning of May. Heavier longs on the tilt, 70% long. Like I said, if we do get above these levels here, I think all-time highs come in, because reasonably speaking, we flushed this, caught a bunch of buyers at the lows. Consumer confidence is up a bit, kind of just giving another layer of the confidence to the stock market. A break of this consolidation leads to a recovery. You see, we pushed up, we pushed down. I bet we recover back into this overnight high area. If you get to overnight highs, I want to see that divergence and try and short it. But at the same time, I think if you get to here, you're probably getting to all-time highs. There's not anything really holding it back. No news to tell us that it's going to go short, right? So that's the way I'm thinking through price action for today. If we ever get to the overnight high or overnight low, I will look to be interested. Until then, I'm going to just stretch it out. I was up till probably 3 a.m. and then I went to bed. But if you see me stretching, yawning, tired, even though I'm into the espresso, into the caffeine, you know why. Like I said, I am up 650 across 2 accounts. I copy trade on that. So 635, I should say, per account. See if I could pull this up somehow. Maybe you could see it. Is that there? Can you see this? Or I'm on the wrong chart. There we go. So you can see up 635 on these 2 from that trade this morning. So That's what I like to see, but at a key level, right? $18,891 quarters, once again, trying to fail. That is a key level. That's another reason why this could work out here as far as a cheap short is concerned. Except tilt is kind of 50-50. Never quite made it to VWAP. We're in the middle of zones. I'm going to avoid it. Short up against 891. Nvidia's looking like it wants to break down from 1,111. So you can see now we are kind of rotating back to the other end of this. I really would like to see our overnight low fail. That's my goal, to really get an A+ entry. Even though this would lead to me believing that a follow through to the downside comes in, this is not a very there's not a lot of movement going on right now. I mean, this is the first sell off there from that opening range, that purple box straight down. That's a good trade. It just was nowhere near anything. I don't like to trade middle of the range, middle of VWAP, especially right off the open. I don't have a conviction. I don't have an ability to limit my risk. I could limit it to VWAP, but you have at the same time, I just didn't, I'm not really trying to force this in. Like I said, I was up till 3 a.m. I was building this computer back from the dead, and then I ended up taking a short at 2 because I was up, and I know that at 2 a.m. the volatility starts to increase when those European markets are open. So I took that short from, we'll call it here. We'll show you where it's at. We took the short from 18,933 and down to VWAP. I saw the divergence there. I saw a lot of opportunity come 2 a.m. I saw this kind of rising wedge pattern that we just saw, right? I saw that manipulation. I got involved a little earlier. My stop was above these highs. We got that whip up here, which is exactly kind of what I wanted to see happen a bit earlier. Once I got that and that immediate failure, I knew that once it broke that low, we were going to get a pretty clean move to the downside. So we did. We took that trade across 2 accounts. And now today, we're just waiting patiently to see. I'm sure this maybe bounces back up to 91 area. And then if we fail 91, I want to see a rotation back down to the low and see if we can get an overnight low failure and get our delta divergence to rotate us back to VWAP to get myself an opportunity for a long. But until then, this is me avoiding diddling in the middle, right? These are two things that I kind of anticipated. I wanted this trend line here to break on that news, but I wanted it to get into that overnight low. If we would have got to that overnight low, I would have hammered long. Didn't quite make it there, which when I get this kind of movement away from my level, I kind of don't want to chase it because a lot of times I'll get this movement, then it'll fail at overnight low. Then I'll stop myself out at an area where I would have liked to have entered, right? So I want to know where I'm wrong first, and where I'm wrong pretty much is this 20 down into this, down here. I think if we break this and rotate lower, then that's when you're wrong, right? You don't want to be bleeding out. So I don't want to enter up here thinking that I'm going to be wrong down here and then double, triple my risk when I could have just waited for this manipulation to the high side, come back down, fail that level and go. Right now, we're kind of doing what I wanted to happen from the low to here. So if this does hold and break through 91 and hold, I think VWAP doesn't quite hold, and I think we rotate back through the highs. I just never was able to get in and enter. But we are seeing the market really well, which is really nice. I'm not forcing things in. Also really nice. I'm going to go 8:30 to 11 today. If I don't take any trades, then it just is what it is. I'm looking to get my opportunities at the levels that I want them and not force in the trades. So we just got a decent size on the bid filled at from 894 to 900. It got filled 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, probably about 150 to 200 lot size that I saw earlier. on the tape up here. You could see it flashing. It was flashing like 100 and 120, 118 in the depth of market. So that's interesting to see. A lot of times when those get filled, it flips. So you are seeing a little bit of a flip on this. If 91 gives up, that probably gives us a chance. Let's see if we can get a delta divergence here and see if it'll rotate back to our overnight lows. That would be really nice for us. Like I said, this is in VWAP. I don't like to trade this. I like to trade my overnight highs, overnight lows, previous day's highs and lows. This is a key level here, this 91 quarters. So I do like the idea of shorting 91 quarters. However, I do know that there is like a bit of interest here for longs. So we saw it on the time and sales. I'm not sold completely, but it could happen. It could easily happen. And so we're gonna see what happens at these levels. I would love to see it down at the overnight low. If the overnight low can get tagged, then we can look for our long. $9.28. See what happens on trade evade. Do we get any? See, so you're not getting that delta divergence there. So it's still not like creating that ultimate high. Could pop up again on that, and you are getting it here, making new lows on higher delta. But now you're starting to get a good flush on it. See if it'll break through this level, get down into these lows, and we can start to look for a trade opportunity. Just trying to see what I see across different charts. Like I said, 91 I feel like is a good area of like where there's going to be a lot of interest. That's my problem with it. Ton of interest here. It is the bottom end of value area, so you do have point of control way up top, way up here. So potentially, it hasn't flipped yet. It hasn't really expanded. So I think there's still some directionality to be had. I really don't have anything for you right now. Kind of just clicking through charts, seeing what I can see, seeing if there's any opportunities to be had here. Delta is trying to push higher. Price is not trying to push higher. So maybe that's a little bit of a divergence there where Delta is making, the attempt to break out and price is just not quite following through. That 91, 93 level is acting as support, resistance. I think 900 is that obviously that big round number right here. If it cracks above 900, then who knows where it ends up. Like I said, that overnight high could easily crack. I don't trust that it's, ready to do anything, to be honest. This is a very flat price action, not a high volume. This is summer type trading also, so just be mindful of this. Could be your day-to-day for the rest of the summer. I mean, obviously there will be opportunities on either end, but I don't know. Nvidia is a little heavy, so I don't know about breaking to highs. I want to get down into the overnight low so I can play the bounce. Really, that's my goal on the day here. Microsoft, a little bit heavy. Nvidia still on the lows of this consolidation. Apple curling upside. Google now. AMZN pushing highs, but still below pre-market highs. I'm just gonna watch Nvidia. Nvidia's been Mr. Market Maker. We basically trade the Nvidia futures here. So with the market holding up a bit stronger, if Nvidia does give up any of the highs, I think we could rotate right back down to our lows, and then hopefully we can get something involved down here. That's really what my goal is, to get down there. If we get down there, does it continue to sell? That's the one question, though, right? So that's why I wait for a delta divergence or something to indicate that a buy would be valid instead. I'm hoping that everybody is staying out of this kind of choppy mess. Not really, unless you're in long from the lows, or if you took the short from the opening range high, you had an opportunity to secure profits. Like I said, as you start to approach that overnight low, that area is a good area to start to trail out. That's where you're going to get some congestion, especially in these markets. You're just trying to take a little piece of a big move. You're a day trader. It's very difficult to be swinging stuff to look for bigger, longer term move, especially running into some certain numbers, right? 9 o'clock, you were looking at a number coming in. So you potentially could have got a deeper flush on the number, but realistically, a lot of these numbers have just kind of been coming out, whipping us around and bringing us back to where we've been. So I would just be cautious on it. And then now, like I said, the long here, I really wanted down into this yellow zone to rotate back higher. I just haven't, I didn't get that opportunity, didn't get in deep. Where are you high from? What's the average price? I hate to do anything when price looks like this. You haven't broke out of this range. You haven't, this is a manipulative area. Yes, 91 I think is a key line in the sand for my major levels, but I'm not sure if that's ready yet. I would be cautious on the longs with VWAP overhead, with the way price has been acting, with all the other indices heavy, and Nvidia is trying to kind of hold the bottom end of this range. So if it does break through the high end and continue on upside, then you should be okay in a long. However, this consolidation could chop you around, so don't get chop happy. Don't go and say, I want to get in long, I want to get in short, I want to get in long, and I want to get short. If you got a bias, if you have a plan, stick to the plan, let it do its thing, and then if you get stopped out, so be it. But I like to avoid this kind of price action. It is a good. I don't hate it. Long. I wanted to be long here. Rotate to VWAP. Rotate to overnight highs. So you're not in a terrible spot. But I would like to know what your price cost average is. Delta's flat. $891 acting as that support. So if you're in long, $891, even down into $888, right? This is support right here. 18.9 you're in from. Beautiful. Right there. Careful on it. If it doesn't break out, Watch for a manipulation failure. I only trade NQ. Yep. I got you. Watch the 18, 891, 888 level. If it gives this up, I would be cautious that a rotation happen. I don't know where your stop's at. I don't know how big size you're trading. I don't know what kind of account size you got going on there, Charlie. But be careful, because if this 891 goes, 888 goes, I would anticipate a bit of a heaviness down into this consolidation zone, potentially to get people stopped out to possibly run it long through 900 again. So that's just if 900 doesn't go, watch for it. All right, just be cautious on it. It seems like it's holding though, that 91 level, so you should be okay for now. I don't see Delta's trying to push up, so it's trying to drag price up with it. This is the bottom end of the 15-minute range. So the first 1 minute is here. The first 15 minutes is right there. Oh, actually, the first 15-minute range is down here, so I'm a little bit off on that. Very interesting. Oh, 1 micro? Okay, so you're all right. That's a nice little pop through the level. Watch the VWAP if it's going to reject or if it's going to hold. Yeah, I like... This was a fantastic setup for the long to the VWAP. And then it just took off on us. Like I said, I need it down here. So there was a number released. What was that? Fed Manufacturing Index, negative 19.4. Negative 14 was anticipated. Previous was negative 14. So we're slowing in our manufacturing index, which is possibly indicative of what the Fed wants to see for rate cuts. But I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for this at this point, because we don't know. We have no idea, because the market does what it wants to do. Delete that. Doesn't matter. I'm sorry that I wasn't here from Thursday and Friday because of that computer issue. Charlie, I appreciate you going in and watching some of my videos last week. Realistically, on a day-to-day basis, as long as you stick to your plan consistently over and over and over and over again, the results will take care of themselves, right? I'm a proponent of my strategy works, stick to it. For me right now, I'm kind of interested in that thought of if 900 fails, I'm not going to take this trade, but this would be interesting if this gives up the bottom of this, then you probably get a good move. Then we can start to look at that overnight low as a long opportunity. But if we're going to just hang around VWAP, I can't do anything. Like I said, my strategy, all of April, like I said, I made good money, four grand about, and then the beginning of May, I just gave it all back. I took a little bit out of it. But right now, we are going to be a lot more patient. We're only going to execute at our levels unless something screams at me to take a major structure level, longer term as an entry. Like, right, this is a longer term, but it's not long enough for me, because this new all-time high level hasn't quite flushed out some of these levels to be, as precise. 891 is still a pretty important level. It's the high of the NVIDIA earnings wick, which is very important, and it acted as support and resistance a couple times. So that's why I like the 891 level. And we also broke down of a trend line. So we came back, we retested that trend line. Now we're going to break back down the other direction, potentially from VWAP through the 91, through that other level, and then down into our lows, where I would be interested again in some sort of bounce play type of action down there, just because of the way price likes to react. If we can get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't. If we just hang around in the middle of the zone, then it's a good reason to just not execute. I'm going to get rid of this espresso cup since I'm done with it. We're going to go with the old bullish on caffeination mug here. This is a big support area. I'm glad I came back. I was really frustrated this weekend as far as this computer is concerned. I was doing every bit of troubleshooting I possibly could and couldn't get it to get back into action. So I had to go to Best Buy. And normally I don't like to buy computer parts from Best Buy, but it's the only place that was open and close. So I ran there a few times. New motherboard didn't do it on its own. New power supply didn't do it on its own. And a new processor didn't do it on its own. But combined all together in an old case with some of the old components, we're back in action. So if there's something that I am happy that I know how to do is at least try and fix computers as best I can, and then kind of save myself money in labor costs, because somebody would have charged me to basically build a whole new computer if they couldn't figure out what I couldn't figure out. So yeah, so I was frustrated all weekend, and I'm not trying to take that out on the market right now. I'm trying to just be patient, be cautious, let this thing do what it's going to do, and then work my plan, right? Don't let the frustration of the computer issues build into more, right? So we're going to see if this 91 level gives up. It looks like it's going to, and there it goes. It is giving up that 888. Let's see if it'll get down. I don't know what this line is, but it is the top level of that support there. So 64. Yeah, I kind of just felt like that manipulation over the VWAP gets us some longs involved right above 900, gets longs involved, and then wants to push the heaviness through and see if it can rotate again. Grab the liquidity there. We have been sell side since the opening range. We haven't really looked back at it. So to go long through 900 was definitely an obvious point of where they would want to manipulate you into getting long at a key psychological level to where they could possibly short it. And I'm just kind of like peeking at charts around and doing things here. So NVIDIA is trying to push highs too. So that is another thing that could possibly help this continue to go longer. This also could be a stop run here because this is an obvious level as well. So be cautious on it if you did take the short or anything like that. Like I said, I'm not entering this. This is just showing you what possibly could be happening, what you could be thinking about as price is doing what it's doing, and understanding what price wants to do as it moves around in the markets, right? So you just got to understand what price needs to do is really seek liquidity, and this is what it's doing. It found liquidity here for a short, and now it's rotating down to the bottom end of that. It's just kind of sitting here waiting. The bottom end of this consolidation, right? If it comes back up, retests, and then fails this again, that's kind of what it's been doing on a longer term time frame, right? So if we go back to this longer chart here, we broke this key structure level, we flushed it, we came back, we retested it, right? We retested that trend line. Now we're rotating back down through that key level to rotate lower. But if you see that on a shorter time frame here on the 1 minute, same type of deal. You broke down, you potentially could get a retest up into this range here, up into the 95s, and then rotate back down. This could just continue to flush and break through, though, because of just that big longer term time frame break, retest, pullback, and rotation. So I do think my overnight lows could get tagged, and then I could possibly get my entry criteria based on the way price is acting here. If it gets super heavy, then I may not be able to get an entry because it may just flush that overnight low and look to go. So any sort of breakout, breakdown strategy is kind of what we're looking at there. Is that as far as that's concerned, right? It's like we're looking at this to break, and if it does break this overnight low, we do have down to that purple zone as key like selling pressure level. But we are, like I said, just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen around these levels, if it's going to continue to flush or if it's going to, we are holding, and then this is this huge consolidation pattern. So down into the bottom of 67 there isn't out of the realm of possibility on this first move. And then, but if we do a break, retest, fail, we had it on the longer term time frame. Now, is it going to do it on the short term? Right, back up into VWAP again, trick people into going long off 900 and go, or are we just going to continue to get heavy and short, right? Delta flattened out. Price is trying to go downside. Delta's not following through quite yet. $91 got retested again. Kind of just watching Delta. Like I said, Delta didn't quite make a new low while price is trying to break this down. But you did get that divergence, indicator to fire. Doesn't mean that it won't go through it this time. $8.88. Nothing telling me anything directionality wise. I just feel like we're gonna stay consolidated. There could be, like I said, a breakdown, retest of this, then a rotate back down, or this could have been get longs involved, stop them out, even though we didn't go below the low here, and then rotate higher through 900 and beyond. So that's kind of just, like I said, you have to be able to think through what price action wants to be doing, where it is going longer term, because that's how these bigger players are going to start entering their entries. And then, especially in these slower, less volume in the markets in this type of time frame, I think that's a good reason to kind of just think through these things and get yourself to a point where you're making good decisions just every step of the way, right? You just want to be able to make a good decision, make another good decision, right? Here's that 900 level again. Is it just going to butt its head up against there and fail, or is it going to break through? You got good, strong delta pushing upside, price still not following through. So on the bottom end, you had delta not following through, price tried. Up here, you have price trying to break through a key level, delta also doing the same thing. So potentially could be the time where it actually does go. Just kind of here watching the delta. That's really what are interested in here. It's nice to be back on my PC. I didn't have an opportunity to execute yet today. However, it's good to have all of my actual data that I want to look at on a day-to-day basis. I don't mind trading on my laptop. I keep it pretty simple. I try to just take quick wins, and that's that, because I don't have all my data. But at the same time, we are now looking to push back into this opening range high here, opening range low. Opening range low is the bottom here, 913. I want this to manipulate a bit. what's the high of that opening range? The high of the opening range on this candle here is 24. On this candle here is 25. Yeah, so if it can hold the opening range low, this actually could help the idea now, Charlie, of that 900 level that, you were able to catch 10 points there on that break. Once you see that breakdown manipulation, I think it would still kind of stay range bound. I think that this doesn't want to get to pop. I think it kind of just wants to rotate off of this level here and kind of come back down. But if it does continue, Russell is starting to creep up. S&P is starting to creep up. We did just do that break retest on the major trend line. Again, we're retesting that same level, that 910 level. 910 is a pretty key area. You broke down, retested it. Now you're breaking out from it. So it's potentially looking to be an acceptance into that opening range, which is that purple zone there. So if it accepts into that opening range, then you may rotate, like I said, up to the overnight highs. And then if you do get over that overnight high, if you get over this initial whippy candle there, I think all-time highs come into play. Still nothing for me. Just waiting. Waiting. The 910 level. Are we getting any divergence in the delta? No, you're just getting a slowing down. It's a flattening of it. So you're not getting the explosive delta price action that you would anticipate if you were going to break through this level right there, right now. So you are starting to curl a little. But price could still just continue to grind. Charlie, your 900 breakout level idea wasn't wrong. It was just not timed correctly, right? You just got to move on and look to see maybe what kind of adjustments you can make on that longer term idea here. So that's a high of that. Then you have this price level here. If we're just kind of drawing up intraday stuff, this would be interesting if this cracks and goes, but it looks like it wants to hold that little bit of a expanding sort of wedge that it's got going on here. Russell is creeping upside, so potentially watch out for that to continue us on. Like I said, I think, Charlie, your idea wasn't wrong, right? You took the 900 break here. You got a nice little flat base breakout, which gave you the idea that this could potentially go, right? This is a good idea right there, right? You got the breakout. You're in that reversal. You're trying to rotate back to the highs. The only thing that I don't like is that VWAP was there, right? So VWAP being overhead acted as that resistance. Once that the thing that keeps me out of those trades is that VWAP being right there. Let's take it one more iteration, right? You took this breakout, it failed. The next iteration of it, you're here. Once you get to that level, now you're breaking VWAP and you're breaking your structure point. So you're able to kind of confirm a little bit more on it. You do still get, how many points did you get on this? If you took and held it, you're getting 60 something ticks on that, and then potentially even more because you're now above VWAP and the bullishness can start to hold, right? It's more of a confirmation hold above VWAP, rotate and go higher. So that's kind of something that you can think of as far as what can confirm my idea a little bit better than what I just did to get stopped out on it, right? Because your idea wasn't wrong. You just need to develop your strategy a little bit to get yourself a little bit of a confluence, something that's going to stop you from getting in early or late, right? So you don't want to be too early, right? That would be no good. Yeah, I can see it being a choppy day for you. I don't have anything that's going to give me confidence in anything. This was my good idea here, but it needed to be down here. Avoiding trading away from my levels has helped me out. I mean, not necessarily helped me because I did see this breakdown coming. I called that short. I called this long coming in, but I just didn't get it to my level. So I did mention these things out there for you kind of work off of. But at the same time, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that this thing grinds all the way back up to all-time highs. Like I said, at some point today, the opening range high breaks. You're looking at 924. 924 breaks, potentially look for it to be pushing higher. But also at the same time, this could melt off from here, right? Like there's no real indication of a direction today. We're right back down to if you're chopping yourself up, take a walk, man. Come on, Ray. Take a walk. You had a long weekend, coaching, driving, doing all that stuff. Don't chop yourself up the first day back. There's no need for it. You're down 100. Your accounts are still in really good shape. Take a breath, take a walk, reset your thought process, reset our levels, right? Our levels are not in play right now. So don't play around with when they're not there, right? If you want to really stick to that strategy, stick to the strategy, right? Stick to the so we got a delta divergence candle there now on that high break. So potentially with this wedging pattern, I'm just talking through stuff that could be happening with this wedging. Oh, come on with this. I fucking hate the trade of 8 charting stuff. Oh, there's a pop. Now that's a good delta break. So let's see if this will fail. But we're in that purple zone. If it cracks above and rips out, then you're continuing, like I said, probably all the way up to all-time highs. If not, I mean, rotate down to lows. I am dead center of my range, right, Ray? Yellow line, the blue line. We're dead center. I know you like to play VWAP stuff. I just think VWAP needs to be more of a confluence thing than it is an actual like entry. Like, you know, you could take quick hits off of them, but you got to be quick with them and you got to limit it because otherwise it's going to get you in trouble. I like this. I really like this, the retest here, and that's why you wait for the confirmation on the retest. You don't just take it because it never really confirmed on you. This is still pushing. It's still holding the same trend line, right? Crazy. Holding that same trend line. Yeah, so if you were trading away from it, that's, you know, something to just now note. All right, I traded away from my zones. I traded away from my levels. This is nothing for me. Why am I executing? Take a step back. Understand, okay, you know, avoid the tilt, avoid the FOMO. Price is going to move. Things are going to happen. You don't have to be involved because it's not necessary, right? The next overhead resistance, like I said, is at 929, 18,929 is my next, overhead resistance. So up over this 30, so this 28.50. We didn't get to my level below. Maybe we don't get to this level here. This is just a key level. It's not the tradable level for me. The tradable level, the next up overhead is 80. But that a point, I don't know if we get a failure of that overnight high or if we're going to just continue on upside. If S&Ps can break through VWAP downside, then NQ I would like to see follow. And I like I said, I like us down to overnight lows. I just don't know if that's going to happen in my stream and during our trading session or not. Just got to wait and see. I think we kind of stay range bound today and chop around a bit. We're right back in. This is the opening range. This purple box here. I just drew it up so we could see it on this chart without having to, flip back and forth. Good delta push to the downside. Price trying to creep back up. Delta not. So delta starting to diverge a bit here. If you crack through the opening range low, I would anticipate, that retest of that VWAP. I want to see if this will get people involved into a bigger short, which could lead us into our level, which could lead us into a potential long, but that's a little ways away. It's almost 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock usually gives us a little bit of movement, a little bit of action. I don't think there's any number for 10. There's a two-year note auction at 10:30, three-month bill auction at 10:30. So nothing crazy. You see that wiki delta divergence right there. That that dot fired on a wiki candle at a key spot. So that potentially is interesting to me. You can see how much volume is being executed here. You can see Delta is still trying to be heavier than price, which should help kind of pull this back into the range a bit, down to the VWAP. Yeah, it's a so I can't call it a bull flag because we're in a downtrend, Bamboo. So right when you're in that down push, you're pushing downside, breaking down, pushing downside, grabbing liquidity, pushing up. Yes, in theory, it's a bull flag. I guess if you got one leg up and a bull flag, it's just like more of a high basing pattern manipulation type range bound type day looking for liquidity. I don't like to call things bull flags, bear flags, stuff like that because they do work. I mean, obviously, it's stuff that people call out all the time. I don't like to call them by the names of like those things because it kind of just gives a bit of misinformation because really what we're trying to do is play levels, Bamboo. If you're still on here and talking through it, because this could look like a bull flag too. But to me, we're in an area where, yes, it could, but also it could go up. But at the same time, we do have the opening range high here. We left it at the high before, could rotate back off of that high again. We're watching Delta get pretty heavy while price is trying to hold up. So there is a bit of divergence there. If anything starts to creep down, the Delta probably acts to help it to the downside more so than up to the upside, right? So if you do start to get Delta pop before price goes, then you're okay. But I would just be cautious on calling it. It is what it is. I mean, it is a bull flag, I guess, if you consider it up flag, up flag. You're starting to get consistently higher lows. I just talk through things in a more fluid sense, less so in chart pattern setup talk, and more so about level liquidity and just simplifying your entries and exits to being a bit more consistent, right? That's really all I'm trying to do here is trying to help get people to look at things in a more granular, more a bit deeper than just bull flag, bear flag, trend line break, even though those work just fine. You just have to be consistent with it, right? If that's what you're going to trade, you're going to start to trade it. Russell is creeping downside now. S&P's is creeping out. We have a top step announcement. Five XFAs. You can now trade 5 XFAs at once. They just finally officially announced that. So bullish on Top Step, bullish on this Delta push. Price is pushing. I think that's it for this. It's probably going to break this opening range high and probably try and test the high of the day. Like I mentioned, if it tests the high of the day, we're going to start to look for our overnight high up here for that short opportunity back to the VWAP. Delta tried to pop. Price trying to pop. I see that. I see that. You can look here. That's more of the idea there. So that 91 level really held up pretty nicely. I'm trying to look on the Ninja charts because they do have it's very clean on my Ninja charts. This is a delta divergence if I've seen it, right? Let's see if it plays out. You have delta pushing downside, price making new highs. So you do have that coming in. There's the delta divergence, price trying to make new highs, delta not making new highs, significantly lower high. There's a push down, heavier push. Sort of like a cheap trade opportunity there. Just based on that delta divergence. If you do crack through this opening range low, VWAP probably comes in. And then I want to see our low just because I want to have an entry. I don't want to not enter. I want to trade. I want to make some executions. I'm just not able to do that because I'm in the middle of a zone. There's starting to get heavy. I want to see what happens at this opening range low. NVIDIA is starting to sell a bit. You saw the delta divergence come into play, and that delta divergence tells you a whole lot about timing. So if you didn't see this, I mean, at least you would be able to get yourself, let's call it, if you entered here, you could limit your risk to the high, and then you'd already be at break even plus with a 10-point move. If you're just looking to catch 10-point moves, that delta divergence will give it to you. It'll give it to you. It'll give it to you. You just got to be watching it and being mindful of what's going on, right? Look at that. Look at that set lower high. Delta's trying to make lower lows. Price now is going to try and catch up. We just broke through that opening range low again. So now let's see. Do we continue downside or do we rotate back up? There's the delta divergence. Beautiful short right to VWAP. Very, very nice. That's that liquidity zone right there. So that's an understandable reason for a bounce. So if you had that idea for the short here with the delta divergence, just all I do is try to pull back to VWAP. That's my target pretty much every single time. So if you're looking for that, then you should be, maybe take one or two. If you have multiple contracts on, you take one off or two off here because you're going to get that liquidity zone to have some reaction, right? That's $370 per contract that you're sitting on, right? I got you, Ray. I got you, bro. I didn't take it, but hopefully, since you went red to green, now you're going to be more cautious and you're able to kind of just chill. Understand why we're executing these, or why you're executing them, or why I'm talking about why price is going to do what it's going to do when it does it. That's my whole goal here, is to let you guys make your own choices and be able to, capitalize on some of these moves, right? I want to see this get through this. I want to get to my lows, right? So I can execute. I think we can with that delta divergence. I mean, if Russell's cracking lower, NVIDIA is starting to sell. If the VWAP goes, then you do have a pretty good flush point. So let's see what happens here if we get through VWAP or not. Kind of just wanting to see what happens here on this. So that was a nice little move, right, to VWAP, right? That's what we look for from a high key level, failure of that level. Then you look to see maybe rotate. Not only is that VWAP, that's that support line, right? That's where that is. We're retesting that 910 level, rotating back down, possibly to that 891, potentially looking to get ourselves now into our level where we want to get another zone, right? Everything is flat now, right? So that's, you got to take these base hits when you can get them. I love to see it. I love when people are able to capitalize on these moves when I talk about them. That's really my good breaking the VWAP area now. See if we can rotate all the way to the lows. '91s is going to be important, right? That's what was important before. Is it going to be important again? $900 got wicked. This is your perfect delta divergence at a key level. You wait for a wick off high, you wait for the key level, you wait to see that delta does not follow through, and you just take that. If you take multiple contracts, take a couple off, or maybe some off, or if you have one on, just trail it down into VWAP. If it breaks VWAP, great. If it and holds, if it doesn't, then you're out and you made exactly what you wanted to, right? Because like I said, per contract, that's $300 and something per contract that you're looking at right there from high to low, from your entry to the low, right? Because that's really what you're looking at on these levels. And then if you can crack this, then who knows how low you can go if you do trail it to the point where it's going to hold. Potentially now looking to hold that VWAP with that wick off bottom, but you did get a decent, not follow through on delta, but you're not getting a divergence quite yet. Kashkari likes to talk. Good job, Scrooge. Well done. Just take your $200 and run. Every day. Every day. That's all you can do. That looks like it's getting heavy there again. Let's see if it's going to flush this time through. Well done, Scrooge. I love it. Hell yeah. Good job, Ray. It's all about setting yourself up to be able to take that next winner. And like I said, it is I'm just checking orders and stuff. It is a delta divergence if I've ever seen one. I'm glad I was able to call that out for you to just take a peek, look, see at that opening range high, failed to break out of it. You know, this kind of came into here. Lower high in delta, lower high in delta, higher high in price, wick off high, not even close, started to melt off. You could easily limit your risk to $200 ish to rotate right down and then be holding. If you're trailed out, you know, you made your money. If not, you're still looking to go. I think this still has room to the downside, failing this overnight high. But I mean, opening range high, low. I want to see this thing continue to rotate downside so I can get involved, or go all the way up to overnight highs. Either one. I just have no trade to be had because I'm not at my key levels. Yes, I've called out some pretty good trades here. Haven't executed on any of them, but you know, it is what it is. You just gotta let things come to you, and if you don't execute to your plan, then if you make money, then you're not really doing it the right way, and you're not going to be able to do it long term, right? So get rid of that chart right there. Still pushing up now into that opening range. I want price to get to my levels so I can execute, but it's still currently not doing what I want it to do. So like I said, no executions here. We're just waiting to see what we can do on these charts. That's a nice little support. Literally have gone nowhere today. This red to blue is the opening range high, opening range low. This is 1 minute worth of price action. The 1 minute open is right there. And we're right back in the middle of the 1 minute open. So I don't have anything, right? We're right at the point of control. Another area I don't like to enter at. And then you have this. I think this delta divergence was beautiful. Hopefully, you guys made some nice trades. I know Ray caught that trade there. He was able to make some money on that. Go red to green. Called it a day. So good on you, Mr. Frias. Scrooge McBucks up $200 on the day. 204.60. Very good. I know Charlie took that long through 900. One iteration too early. Realistically, like I said, there's something that you can learn from that, Charlie. If you got in here and you took that long here, stopped out down here, like I said, don't get yourself all chopped up. I just said be mindful of this 91 level. Be mindful of these levels. It's going to flush. It's probably going to get some manipulation down here. Could it be a break retest? It could have. The way we were in that, downside momentum pressure. However, if you were looking to get that long, right, watch this resistance, see how close we are to VWAP. That break of it this time didn't quite give you the follow through that you wanted to get, and you rolled right over. The second time, I mean, VWAP wasn't that much closer. It was basically just you have to wait for that confirmation, then go for it again, and then just limit yourself down to maybe where the support is. So you cut your loss a little bit quicker, and you can have a bit of a better risk to reward. But at the end of the day, I mean, it wasn't a terrible long idea, right? Because I was talking long down here based on the divergence strategy that I got, all that stuff, everything but being at my level, right? I needed to be down a little bit lower, down in the 33s, down into 24, this yellow zone and just above. Didn't quite get there, rotated higher, based out. The third touch, you did take the break, kind of just trap, stop out, and then push us up a little bit higher. So, like I said, right back into that range. Nothing really crazy. I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of context to this. I don't trade these per se, but I may start to include them in my playbook each and every day. I'll start to grow with the playbook, but right now we're flat. We haven't traded anything. So Bamboo, I see you're over in YouTube, you're calling bear flags and bull flags on a really short time frame. They work more so in a longer time to see this one. I could see you calling as a bull flag per se. You really want your flag patterns to be tighter and directional. I know we're in a downtrend, but right now we're in a temporary uptrend. So this technically wouldn't be a bear flag. It would be more of a low base consolidation at the bottom end of a range, right? So it's a consolidation, but it's still a higher low on a higher time frame. So although I watched the 1 minute exclusively for the most part on these setups and everything, I'm not seeing this as a potential bear flag because I don't quite have it ready to go right at this point. There's a manipulation in here. It wanted to go that way. Potentially now we could look to see if it breaks down, but look for these liquidity zones to be more of your level. There's a reason there's a wall here, right? Is it going to give up or not? Is there a big buyer here or not, right? Start thinking in terms of less bear flag, bull flag on such a short time frame. If you wanted to do it on a longer term time frame, let's go into the 30 minute, and you want to go here. You could see it a little bit on this, right? You would think, oh, bull flag, right? If you see this price action here, you think bull flag. We're moving up. We got a nice flagpole up, bull flag, right? But what was it? What happened on a longer term time frame? Bull flag, breakout, failure, rotate back down. I'm not a breakout trader, so those flag patterns are more breakout patterns. So I play a lot of failed breakouts because I think majority of the time those types of setups, the flag type setups, the breakout patterns tend to fail. So that's kind of where I'm at with my channel. I believe that they work, but you have to find the time frame where they work and kind of maybe just use them as an added layer of criteria for your entries, right? I'm gonna try and find one that worked, so you can say, okay, bull flag. This is a 5 minute, still no bull. Like even these where they starting to tighten up, they fail, they manipulate around these patterns because they know that a lot of people like us are going to be looking for these types of patterns. So they manipulate these patterns to grab liquidity to move the price the way that they want to grab them and go. I'm trying to find one that works, and I can't necessarily find one that's just a clean flag pattern, right? Like you don't really have very many that really work. This would be a nice explosive candle, and this would be a flag, but then it manipulates and it sells you off because, okay, now I think that there's a bull, and then it rallies up, right? Here as well, bull flag, failure. Majority of the time, price is range bound. It very rarely is trending, right? You see how long it consolidates, then it breaks the consolidation and moves. I just saw a decent size get filled on the time and sales, so possibly look for the rotation to push out of this consolidation. So yeah, right I appreciate you, Bamboo, coming in and at least throwing out ideas. It's cool. Like that's what we're here for. I'm not shooting your ideas down or not, because you could be making money and I could be losing money, or we could both be making money. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about just trying to figure out what's going to work on a consistent basis. And so for me, my strategy, my ideas are kind of just a little bit less pattern based, except for the divergence type stuff, right? Um, I'll adjust these trend lines because eventually they become useful. Do I use them for entries most of the time? Not really. They could be really good, right? You got a consolidation. This could be considered a bear flag, I guess, but it's if you get into the professional spaces, like I worked with T3 as a equities trader, and we would consider these like basing patterns, or you would look for short, like less of a full consolidation type idea. You're just watching for level breaks. You're looking for manipulation on the tape, a lot of that stuff. So I think realistically, as long as you're able to kind of just understand the dynamics of whatever you're trading. So if you're exclusively trading NASDAQ, understand the behaviors of what it does. When it gets into a bull flag, will it manipulate and then go, or does it just go, right? So if you're going to trade bull flag, bear flag on a shorter time period, like this one, like if you say this is a bull flag, right? If you're looking at this is a big leg up. It looks like a bull flag, right? Bull flag. Oh, we're going to break out, right? Okay, great. I'm in. I'm going to play the breakout. Then what happens? It fails and manipulates downside, right? It's pretty clear. It's like, all right, cool. We're up. We're bull flagging. It looks like it's consolidating. Okay, that's a strong move, but it's a manipulation. It rolls right back down the VWAP. And that's where we got our delta divergence, right? So be cautious on some of these, but if you're going to do it, back test it. See how many times it does this. If you see this happen more often than not, you can start to capitalize on the failed breakouts of the bull flag, bear flag type idea, right? So just adjust it. It's good to recognize patterns. Pattern recognition is huge. Understanding what price is doing at certain levels is huge. I think you just need to, hone it in, make sure that you're not just guessing, say, that's another thing. You said bear flagging question mark. Don't question yourself. Be certain on what you're recognizing, and then start to understand how to use that information to your advantage, and do it in a way that's going to be repeatable over and over and over and over again, right? What I have found is that when price gets to previous levels, overnight highs, overnight lows, closes, stuff like that, where I trade those levels and I avoid where the price likes to be most of the time, I could get either, if I feel like it's going to be a breakout, I will play the breakout of one of these levels. But most of the time, I usually will take the failed breakdown reversion back to VWAP, because how many times is it going to come back to VWAP? It always comes back to VWAP. Maybe not right away, but at some point, VWAP is going to come into play, right? So I don't like to play it as an entry. I like to play it as a target, right? And so if you see it on my Trade Evade here, I talk about my entry last night that I took after I was done fixing my computer, right? I noticed this level here. You would call this a bear flag, a bull flag, right? On this right here. So this would have been some sort of bull flag type idea that you have going. Maybe on a higher time frame, 5 minute, it would look a little cleaner. But I saw that there was going to be some possible manipulation to catch the short revert back to the VWAP after that big push up. So I just looked for that, got my entry, saw the manipulation happen. If it would have followed through and closed back above this candle, I would have closed out manually, but I decided not to because it didn't, and it rotated back down. Once you start to see the heaviness, you can catch that right back to VWAP, sits on VWAP, and then you get that full expansion. So this is where you're seeing that type of bull flag, breakout, failure, right? So you're getting the failures. So that's what I like to play. So Bamboo, I hope that helps you a little bit. I'm kind of just trying to run through stuff to help any new sort of person in here, or anybody who's been in and hasn't seen. Oh, I wasn't on the right chart, was I? Boo, sorry, Bamboo. Trying to show you the where I was talking about on my Trade Evade. So there. This is what I was talking about with the bull flag. I always play that failure. I fixed my computer, and I was just testing to make sure everything was working out. I saw this setup come into play. And I was like, you know what? It's 2 a.m., Euro open, stuff like that. There's going to be an increase in volume, so let's see if we can get some sort of quick move here before I go to bed. And I caught two nice quick one trade and done on this account pretty much for the day. So we're at the high end of the opening range, and once again, let's see if we'll break it and continue to the upside now. I want this. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, as best I can, on Tradecaster and on YouTube. If you're over on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe. Also, click over to the link in the chat. That's the Tradecaster link. That's my lobby in Tradecaster. Absolutely bamboo, anytime. Like I said, I think realistically, as long as you could find something that you can see visually repeatable over and over and over again, and then you start to learn the behaviors of it, you're going to have a much higher success rate once you just stick to it, right? Like I could have easily taken all of these trades that I talked to you guys about today, right? I could have easily took the opening range short and made pretty good money on it. Maybe I missed it, an opportunity there, right? That's a really nice, clean move, no problem there. Really took no heat on it. However, it's outside of my rule base, so even if I made money on it, I'm still breaking my rules as far as trading at VWAP in the middle of a range. For me, that's just not worth it. I could have executed here too. I got my delta divergence. I was talking about how I want the long, but I needed to get down below my overnight lows. Just never got there, right? So I can't execute because it's not part of my rules. If I take 0 trades on a day, I'm at least sticking to my my good behaviors. Then eventually, long term, that's going to build that success, and I'm just not going to feel bad about not executing. And then you're just going to eventually get to a point where the money comes just purely based on process-based behavior and less emotion-based behavior, right? Because if you just start hammering in because of emotion, man, I really could have got some money today, you're not going to make it because it's just going to be breaking rules and stuff. So like I said, I talked about this entry, I talked about that entry, and this one right here as a quick base hit, right? Take this short on that delta divergence, right? Delta is the aggressiveness of buyers or sellers at a price point, right? So this is price. This is your delta. How aggressive. If it's red, the sellers are in control. If it's green, the buyers are in control, right? You start to see that here. Higher high, lower high, short, right to VWAP. That's my target every time. Go, right? So I talked about that, and now we're back into just lingering. Every day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 Central Time to 11. Delta divergence there. I have no levels here, so I'm just kind of maintaining here. While there's a lull in my action here, daytradingcoffeeco.com. Head over to there. Link is in the YouTube chat. I'll just put it in here. Where's my thing here? If you use my name, Policing Pips, get you 15% off. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. That is a coffee company that I have created. It's for day traders, by day traders. The coffee is always roasted fresh, on order, delivered right to your door, fueling your trading adventure. My goal with that company is to donate a portion of my proceeds to underfunded traders. So not become a funding company, but I want to give back to people who maybe are struggling to not have the money that they need to execute. And I'm going to start by doing it with, giving out combines, giving out those types of accounts. But also we have partnered with Lightspeed. So our favorite equities broker, Lightspeed, is out there doing great things for us, and they're helping us out. Lightspeed, let's see if I have my landing page here. Lightspeed.com. You'll be able to get this discount here exclusively through Day Trading Coffee Co. using code COFFEE. If you are interested in trading equities at all, this is my favorite broker. When I traded professionally with T3, this is the broker that I use. Best locates, as far as I'm concerned, in the business. I really thought that everything that they did was great. The platform is fantastic. I'll run through it for anybody who is going to want to start to do equity stuff. If you're trading SPYs, trading Qs, head over to Lightspeed, create an account, use my code here. Normally you have to add 10 G's. They'll let you get in with $5,000 and you'll still get all the great benefits of these low fees, low contract rates, all that. And you'll have 3 months of free brokerage. So a lot of these really, really good brokerage, you're going to have to pay for them monthly. So if you get 3 free months, if you use the code COFFEE. So my idea here is to try and prove concept with them. I want, I don't care if you open an account or not. Just click through the link, see if you like it, see what they have to offer you. If that's something you want to do in the future, go ahead and do it. If you want to do it now, awesome. That's great. Use that code COFFEE. It'll help you out. But really, at the same time, I'm trying to prove to them that I can drive traffic to them so that I could be a good partner for when I actually do have the money from the coffee company to allow that funding fund to be able to give out to our customers and to the Tradecaster and Policing Pips YouTube page. I want to be able to give back to the community. I'm not trying to sell courses. I'm not trying to sell any of that stuff. The only thing I'm trying to do is get good coffee in your cup, give you some good mugs. Anybody who's tried it, loves it, head over to Google, read our reviews, go to our website. You'll see everything there. So it is definitely good. I like that manipulation there, to be honest. It's not at my levels though, so I can't do it, but I do like that. I like that a lot. I like it a lot. I mentioned that 92975. So this is a really nice little push down in Delta. Russell turning down. Nvidia still pushing highs. What's Microsoft doing? Microsoft holding below 428.80. I do only trade here until 11 a.m. I got the coffee company to do business with. I got the family to take care of. I got a job at night or evening. So lots of things to do and juggle. So that's another good part of this stream. I try to show that it's possible to do multiple things, have a good opportunity to, just be able to be a real life person, not, necessarily showing the fantasy world of trading. I'm just showing the realities of it. Every single day that I come out here, my computer was broken. You saw that. Anything that I'm doing it transparently. I'm keeping you guys informed as much as I can through this chat, through Instagram. So if you do want to find out more information about my streaming stuff and whatnot, and keep up to date if I will be on a stream or not, you should follow me on Instagram at policingpips. I do have a Twitter, but I don't really use it. I use the Day Trading Coffee Co. Twitter more than anything, so look for that. You can always, like I said, DM me on Instagram for the latest information on whether I'm streaming, what I think on markets, because even though I might not be in front of the computer streaming or executing trades, I do have TradingView on my phone like every other degenerate trader. So I would definitely like to look at charts at any time of the day, and if you have a question, I'll take a look at it and send it right back to you and pretty much answer my messages pretty quickly, depending on what I'm doing. Still just not much. This is price sticking in that opening range. That purple zone is the opening 1 minute range of the day. So we have expanded and we've come out of it, but at the same time, for most of the day, it's just been back. We came down, we came right back, and now we're just sitting here since 9:45. Almost an hour of just being in this. There's a delta divergence there at the opening range high. Could it sell off through here? I don't like price action right now. I think most of what I'm seeing, as far as my entry was concerned early, was this entry here and this entry there. Everything else, and then also this divergence there. But I didn't have any reason to take that short. Diverging delta, another lower high, significantly lower high in delta here. Price is doing the same thing though, right? You didn't get any divergence, you just got confluence. Right at the point of control, it's hard to take an entry at point of control. This is where most of the orders on the day have been executed, right there. So, that tells me that it's going to just kind of want to bounce around it. It's not really going to give you a good follow through quite yet. I mean, it could potentially if it does get through this opening range low, but the VWAP is so close, there's not a lot of opportunity to successfully capitalize on it. Yes, I mean, you could have shorted that level and then just kind of rode it out, but for me, it's just not enough. Subpar, maybe a B- trade type idea. And I'm, especially for the first trade of the week, I'm looking for A+ trades. Yeah, no trades for me today. I'm not looking to try and blow these accounts. That's not what I'm looking to do. I'm not looking to just take any sort of trade. If I have another 20 minutes or so, if we can get some sort of good idea to come into play here, maybe I'll take one. But as we hold above 900, above VWAP, it still seems like it wants to be stronger than weaker. Microsoft is kind of holding these pre-market lows, but hasn't done anything. Nvidia is trying to push the highs, Apple still holding below 191. DXY. VIX has been so bogged down, the VIX. The VIX is just not doing anything. So super weak VIX shows the volatility is just diminished. So pretty much just going to grind up higher and higher and higher. I think that's really likely that all-time highs, I feel like, get tagged again probably sometime this week, just based on the lack of data and because markets do not like to make all-time highs in non-market hours. And this previous all-time high was created during pre-market hours, which, I mean, it's a 7:30 hour, which is, still close to the market being open, but it's not close enough. I feel like I said, that level, if it gets tagged 23.25, is, that's the all-time high. I don't have it exact. I could move it up a little bit. There we go. 23.25 is that all-time high. Give me a minute. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Alrighty. Like I said, there is just not a ton of tradable price action for you currently. Hopefully you're able to kind of stay out. Not really. I don't want you to chop yourself up on a day like today. Just like Frias came in, he went red to green and then hopefully walked away. Hopefully I can't see his computer, but I'm hoping that he stuck to his word, went out, ran some errands, got out of there. There's just no reason to be chopping yourself up in this. You can see lower volume, not great. The only high volume part in the S&P is here at 1030. I don't know. Yeah, I see it here. Okay. Good. Don't do anything else. You go red to green. My thing is here, if you have a day where you're making bad choices, okay, you're executing away from your levels, you're kind of just straying from your strategy a little bit, and you finally get something lines up, you make a really good execution, you trade your strategy, had good delta divergence, there was a level there that you're happy with. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as my strategy, but it's got to be your specific rules. If you hit that thing and you get yourself from red to green, just shut the computer down. It doesn't have to be red to green. It could be red to break even. There's no reason you're not seeing the market well, right? Yes, you get one good setup, but then after you get that good setup and you hit it, you're like, man, I can make more money today. And I don't think that's a really great idea, right? Once you're done with that trade's done. There's going to be another good trade, but you have to look for the good ones. And in a market like today, where we've just been sitting in the opening 1 minute range now for an hour, what are you going to execute, right? What are you going to do now that's going to be beneficial to your account? Being cash, going from red to green on a day is the best thing that you could possibly do. Red to green, red to break even, red to small loser. If your red is just a small loser and then you go red to green, then it is what it is. You don't have to, But if you're not seeing the market well, if you're in this sort of chop, if you're in this sort of I just saw a larger size just get filled here. So potentially watch to see if maybe we break above. If not, it could start to rotate down. It's a bunch of orders on the bid. So it got hit. I don't see any bigger size currently. Deck crushing it as always. 639. So see, like even like a guy like Deck trading all this time, trading all this money, trading these big accounts, he's making 639 for the day, and he's good. He's having a good day. So don't fall into the trap of some of these gurus telling you that you're making $10,000-$20,000 a day, and you know don't feel like you have to do those things in order to make good money, right? Deck's out here proving to you you can make $600, $1,000, $2,000 a day. You don't need to be hitting these grand slam home runs every single day all the time because it's not really possible. It's not really sustainable. So if you leave this room, if you're in my room, if you're in that room, if you're anywhere, just understand that you have to stick to your own strategy, your own rules, and your own account size. And you have to understand what's manageable, what's reasonable. Don't just go out here gambling, right? Be the casino, like Deck likes to say. Be the casino. Set the odds in your favor. Take what you think is going to be the appropriate trade and not look to force in stuff. And that goes back to my talk about if you if you go red to green, or if you're red to break even, and you've been not seeing the market well, you're executing away from your strategy. You're maybe you're taking things that you normally wouldn't take. You're being a little tight, and you found something that is your setup, something that, like I talked about here, this setup right there, that delta divergence, right? That was our setup. I talked about it. I just wasn't at a level where I wanted to take this short for my rules for the first trade of the week. I'm not going to just hammer into this, right? So for me to just explain that delta divergence to you, and that's for you to get, that quick little piece, that right to VWAP, take your money and run. You go red to green, or red to break even, or small loser to a decent winner. Step away, walk away, take your profits, go do something else, because this is not, the rest of this isn't great, right? I mean, maybe there's going to be an opportunity later for this to break down, right? Maybe this breaks down and we rotate and we get all the way down to that. Or maybe it breaks out and then it gets up into the upper band of VWAP, into our overnight high range. Then you have an opportunity there. But right now, we've gone nowhere. This is the opening range. We kind of just finally broke above the opening range and kind of held there since the last hour. I mean, we're kind of just flirting with this point of control, opening range. S&P's is still below the opening range. Russell's still well below the opening range. So you are holding above here. This is, where it's at. Thank you, Dick. I appreciate you coming by always. I love being back in here now that my computer is Frankensteined together with a bunch of different parts. But we're ready to go and provide some value. We didn't take any trades personally. I didn't get to my rules, but that's what we're about here, is sticking to our rules. And, I'll provide you good trade opportunities like this opening range breakdown. You had a really nice opportunity there. Very limited risk, very cheap trade. Good reward there. I talked about how I wanted the long down here, but we didn't get to my level, so I could not execute because I couldn't limit my risk the way I wanted to, right? So really, otherwise, and then this delta divergence there. There's been 3 okay opportunities. I would consider this an A opportunity. The only thing that makes it not a tradable A plus for me today is that it wasn't at my level. This was also an A, but it just didn't. It just needed to get 5 more points down, right? 39 to 33, 6 points. I needed to move a little bit further in my direction for me to decide if I wanted to take that. And then the opening range here is just too close to VWAP. It's an another A trade. So 3 A's that I didn't take because I wanted to get an A plus in there today. Especially after the stressful end of the week last week. I ended my week good, right? I had a couple really good trades. I ended this this account here is up after last night's trade. It's up 9,900 and change. So just shy of $10,000 over 5 days on this account, right? This account up 356. I think that probably not anymore because I just clicked around with it. But this one here is also up 600 and something dollars. So after today, you got, some positive green areas here. Looking to see if we could just build this. We need to get to that $15,000 mark. I'm not in any sort of rush to do it. I'll take $10,000 over 5 days on these. Top step, we're over here. You can see we're at 50,751. Got to get to that $3,000 mark to get our funded accounts back and ready to roll. So like I said, my goal for this this time period of focusing back in, getting back into a good rhythm, is to get as much funding as possible and just leverage all of the accounts that I possibly can, and then just hit the gas pedal on that. Because realistically, last month I took my payouts, I did what I needed to do, and then this month I got myself into trouble just by focusing on the drawdown instead of focusing on the good strategies and executing on good trades. But really, this is getting heavy. Yeah, lots of let's see what GME's doing since Dick mentioned it. GameStop spiking. So overnight, apparently, GameStop was not really crazy. Apparently, it was spiking hard in the German markets, but until then, it's kind of now breaking highs of pre-market, so it's moving up. Yeah, so I got 9 minutes left in the stream. Price is not doing anything, right? You can see purple zone, opening range. There is no trade to be executed. You can see I have no executions, no realized profit on top. The top of the screen is going to show you what I've been doing. This is the account, max drawdown, realized, unrealized, daily loss limit, and I have a profit target limit here that'll lock me out automatically if I hit that $1,500 target. Because in the 50K accounts, they don't want you to make 50% of your profits in one day, so that's just that hard limit on that 50K account combine rule. Otherwise, I like to let them run a little bit better and take some bigger profits, but I'm cool with taking $1,500 and running on a day. So that'll lock me out, that'll lock you out, and then I also have the manual lockout button if I want to lock myself out for the day. Really, I have no executions, zero. You can see none here. The only one I had on this one was overnight at 2 a.m. when I was done fixing the computer. Found myself in a position to execute, and I copy traded across two. Made 635 overnight. So, I mean, really, that account, I'm not really too concerned about, hammering into something just to hammer into it. If I do execute something later, I'll let you know. But for the most part, the stream is about done. 7 minutes till I get off. I think if any of you are looking to trade today, wait till closer to the close. I think that coming up now, 11 through 1, 2, is going to be slower. There's a potential, potential that it could sell off a little, but I don't think so. Yeah, I don't got anything. I think you should probably look to avoid. This is the first day back from a holiday weekend. You would expect higher volatility. You didn't really get it. You got a little bit on the open and then kind of flatten out. This is summer trading. Pretty clear, slower, lower volume, lower volatility. I think it's going to be... 5 more minutes left in the stream here. Like I said, I think you kind of avoid trading until later. if you want to execute. Yes, price may move during these midday hours, but for the most part, there's really not a lot of volatility, not a lot of volume. You're still dead center of the opening range, which is really not where you want to be. You're right at the point of control. You're over VWAP, but also at the same time, you're kind of holding below. You're holding below some key levels. You're back above that trend line. And we're in these all-time high areas, so there's not a ton of new buyers. There's also not a lot of people willing to sell this high area because realistically, the NQ could easily run right to that green line like today. So it's not, it's not really tradable right now. If you're trading other markets, this is something that you're into, and you're looking some other places like oil, gold, I don't know, CL. Let's see what crude's doing. Crude's pushing to the high side, coming into resistance. I don't trade these things. Maybe let's see coffee contracts. They don't have coffee on here. Let's see gold. Gold is pushing higher. So usually inversely correlated is the market. Gold will push higher. The equities will push lower. It's usually an inverse correlation because this is a flight to safety, the gold contract. If you start to understand money dynamics, if gold's going up, let's see if there's dollar. Do we have USD? Canadian dollar, euro, British pound, Australia micro. I got nothing for you guys. I'm sorry I didn't take any trades for you. It wasn't very entertaining as far as that's concerned. I think it was educational for the day. I think we did a really good job of explaining certain aspects of what was going on, trying to keep you out of bad trades, keep you in good ones, understanding when to get in, when to get out. Right, like I said with this one, even though we did get a good divergence, I said once you get down to VWAP, that's probably the end of your trade. So just be mindful of that, secure your profits, do what you got to do. So you do have that that type of idea there. Everything else, realistically, you're just sitting in the middle. You're not doing much. So, like I said, until tomorrow, probably I'll be here. I won't be on today any further. I think there's a. What is this? Give me a second. Yeah, I got nothing for you. Do your best to avoid this choppy mess, right? I think realistically, you guys have listened to kind of what I had to say. Like I said, we mentioned the opening range breakdown, which is really good. If we were at or near an overnight high or an overnight low, I would have looked to take that trade. We weren't there. We never really made it to the overnight low. We got close. I mean, I could have took a cheaper, maybe a smaller half size attempt at this long. Maybe that's something I will adjust moving forward in summer months. If we're not going to get to our levels, look for something to kind of adjust, just to kind of adapt to the market conditions. Kind of anticipate that this is going to be very similar price action all through the summer, except for high data weeks. So just be mindful of this type of price action. You're going to get volatility early. 33.50 was my overnight low. So volatility early. And then this is the overnight low right here. It happened at that time there. I mean, technically, even if you could have went even further back and down to there, but the overnight low from yesterday's holiday open, after the holiday closed and we reopened again, the overnight low is right there at 33.50. So, yep, it is now 10:59. If anybody has any other further questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that, let me know now, and we'll go through it quickly. Otherwise, I got to go take care of business. Head over to daytradingcoffeeco.com. Use my code policingpips for 15% off all your orders. Trying to fuel traders 1 cup of coffee at a time. Freshly roasted beans on order. I know Ray's got some of our swag. I know Charlie's looking to get a hat once he gets himself funded. He's in, what did he say? He's in Argentina? No. What country did you say you're from there, Charlie? He's from South America. So he's down there, and he's looking to get some of our stuff. So check out the website. Use the code Policing Pips, like I said, to get yourself 15% off all the time. And then once we start to develop consistent profitability, we are going to give back 10% of our profits into a funding fund partnered with Lightspeed. Check out that link. Great deals there, but I will be looking to give away cash accounts with them. If you are going to trade equities, let me know, and that would be when I start to do the giveaway, I'll start to push that out further and further. But to prove that we're a good partner with them, I want you to just click the link, just give it some love, see if you could find some more information about what they have to offer. When it comes to futures, I'm right now in Top Step, and I'm running a 250K combine in Apex. But right now, I'm not going to take any sort of trades the rest of the day. If I do anything later on, power hour time, I will let you know. But right now, I'm going to be off, done for the day. I will see you guys tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Central Time. Until then, I'll talk to you later. Deuces.